have a few more things to add, but they're very little. I typically always say this, but Miss Katie informed me last time, like our last class, that typically y'all don't hear it. But I have two dogs, and I always just like to warn. One is a giant black lab, and so what happens sometimes is when he barks, it can get loud. I just like to always let everyone know I have two dogs and they like to bark. And so if you see me ever looking down, like I just did because the little one was trying to get my attention. If you see me looking down, that's what it is. I just like to let everyone know that. So it's not just like if I suddenly have to go grab something, you guys know what's going on. So like Miss Katie said, my name is Gillian. And let's see, I was trying to think of what you haven't said that I might need to add, but I think that was really about it. I do like to say this is a safe space, meaning that if you guys have any kind of questions, it doesn't have to be just ASL. It can be also related to deaf culture, anything like that. Even if you think, is this insulting or is that not like, that's not nice or things like that, you can ask me and I can very happily tell you if, yes, if you said that to a deaf person, that'd be insulting or things like that. I'm I do not get upset and it's totally fine because you guys are coming from an informational point, not an insulting point. There's a big difference. So please don't feel bad if you want to ask a question, anything that you're like, go for it. And if you're not comfortable doing it in class, you can always email Miss Katie and she'll let me know and I can respond as best as possible. Another thing she did mention I wanted to add a little bit is, so obviously I don't know every word in English, meaning I also not going to know every sign in ASL. So if there is a word you guys are curious of, there may be a chance where I'm like, well, I'm actually not sure if I've seen a sign for that. Like she said, I work at a deaf school. So I have a lot of coworkers who are deaf and I will ask them, hey, what's the sign for this? I've never seen it before. I've not used it. What's up? And they usually are happy to tell me. So with that being said, I just kind of like to preface with that. And also a lot of times with signs, not every word has a sign. There are certain words that you have to what's called fingerspell, and that's where you spell the word out. So there are a lot of instances like that, especially with like specific kind of like animals, things like that. So I always like to just kind of let y'all know in case you're like, well, but we just have to fingerspell everything. I'm like, yeah, trust me, I understand how to do it at school. It's not fun. So I think that's about it. I'm gonna try to put up my chat so I can see everybody. Okay. So let me fix it. There's a big class. So I'm trying to make sure I can see everyone. And I think we'll get started. So what we're going to do tonight first, we're going to start off with the alphabet. And the reason we start really emphasizing with the alphabet is that I like to say that when in doubt, if you really had to communicate with someone and all you know is the alphabet, you can actually still have a conversation. It may be long and tedious, but you can still have a conversation. Especially, I always think about like those emergency situations if something happens, you can still communicate with the alphabet because we do finger spelling with things. And I think I mentioned, sorry, I'm back in last week's class. Like that's where I am right now. I'm like, oh, I've mentioned before. I'm like, no, I haven't. This is y'all's first time. But so finger spelling, like I said, is when you spell out the word. And for us, I know we don't typically do that. Like if we're talking about, something like if we're trying to remember the word for like cat, or if we're doing Spanish and we'll say, well, what's the word for, and we have to think of that. ASL, you can just finger spell the word cat and they'll help you, they'll sign it, or even that's just how it is, like how you communicate that word. I know I said that really fast. You will see what I mean later on. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first letter, obviously, we're going to do is A. So what you're going to do for A is you're going to just kind of have your thumb resting on the side of your knuckles. Right. I try to make sure those who I see everybody. So if you see me doing this motion, this is me literally going down the line, making sure I see everyone's A. All right. Then we have B. B is going to have your four fingers up and then your thumb go across. B. No. So someone asked if it matters if you're right or left-handed. I am left-handed. And thankfully what's nice is that ASL is very much, you can use both hands. So A, B, C, all of them can be the same. There's not really a big difference. Thankfully with that, especially with the alphabet. There may be a few specific signs that really depends on using your right, your right or left, but most of the time not. So, okay. So we had our A, then we had B, and then C, we all know it, thankfully, and it's our little C. Then for D, what we're going to do is you're going to have your pointer finger up, and your D is going to make that kind of like circle, D. You'll use so you'll just stick up your pointer finger. Switch it. No, you're totally fine. I get it. Am I big enough for everybody? I'm trying to see if let's see. See, I can't see everybody when I do this. All right. So like what it is, it's just your, like, if you think about when you do like the number 1, yeah, there you go, the D. I realized I added my little pointer finger to the side and got that confusing, but yeah. So you have your little D. Then we have E. E is going to be, so you're going to bend your 4 fingers and have your thumb under it. Now, what's interesting with this is if you do it really wide like this, that's not really how you do an E. And if you do that, someone could say that you're screaming E's. Because I did that a lot. When I was learning ASL, I would do a lot my E's like this. I just don't know why I would make it so big, but I would. And I remember my teachers being like, "Why are you screaming E's to me?" And I was like, so I had to learn to really make sure you're not touching your thumb, but you're close. If that makes sense. Yeah. I just always think about that when I start with my E. Every time I do an E, I'm always like, I gotta tell people about my screaming E's. Okay. Let's do F and then we'll go back. So then F is going to be your pointer finger and your thumb. So like the okay sign. Okay. So let's go back. We had A. Then we have B. Then C. D. E. And then F. All right, good. Okay, so the next one for G, what you're gonna do is you're gonna start off kind of look like you're saying like tiny little pinch, and then you're gonna turn it forward. So G. That's my best way of describing it, is to start off with that little pinch because your thumb does stick out with the G. And then H is going to be 2 fingers, H. Then I is going to be a pinky. Oh, excuse me. And then J is you're going to make the motion of a J. J. This one actually was a sign that when I was learning, I learned that if you did it left-handed, you go in, right-handed, you go out. And I was very like making sure I did that right. And then at my school, everyone does it like this, J. And I was like, wait, it should be this way, out. Like, it's got to be the same. And they're like, it's okay. We know it's all J. So I was like, oh, all right, J. The reason for that is, for me, the way I was learning it like that was because if you were to look at someone signing it, it would look like the correct movement of a J. So to us, it looks backwards, but from an opposite perspective, it's that J of how we write it sticking out. So that's why I was like, well, you got to follow that motion, but I've seen them both be the same. So either hand does not matter with this one, J. Okay. Now K, what you're going to start with K is you're going to start in this 2 setting. You're going to have your middle finger come slightly forward, and you're going to stick your thumb between them. Okay. Then we have L, and L is going to be just the L like we know. And then we're going to stop there because M and N are very similar. So we'll do those together. All right. So let's go back to our G. We had G. Then you want just your 1 pointer finger and you'll have it sideways. Let's see. Can you? Oh, I'll come closer. So you have just the 1 pointer finger and you'll turn it. It's just 1. Like your 1 pointer finger. There you go. Yeah, G. Then H is going to be 2. Then we had I, then J, and K. Then L. Okay. So let's move on to our M's and trying to think of, well, we'll just go on through the rest. I was going to say we can keep going back A through those, but we'll wait, go through the rest, and then do them all together. So then for our M, what you're going to do is you're going to have your 3 fingers go over your thumb. M. Then for N, it's going to be 2 fingers over your thumb. N. And I don't know if y'all caught on, but to me, the way I can see an M is I actually see the M motion. Like that, if you look at it, like the fingers, the way they connect looks like an M. And then for the N, is that 1. That's how I see it. I'm very visual. So if that works for you guys, great. If not, you can just smile and nod and go, okay, don't you worry. All right. And the next one we have is O. So we have O. And then for P, what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing we did for K, but now it's down. Someone already knows her alphabet. I saw you do it so fast and I was like, she knows it. So there's our little P. All right, then we have Q. And so for Q, it's that same like little pinch, but pointing down, Q. And then R. R is like when we're crossing our fingers. See, I want to say best friends, but there's a reason for that, and I'll explain that later. But right now, I'm just trying to make sure I say crossing your fingers, R. And then S. S is going to be the same thing as A, but now your thumb goes in front. S. Okay, so let's go back to our M. We had M, N, O, P, Q, R, and then S. S. Okay, so now going on, our next one is T. T is going to be 1 pointer finger over your thumb. And I know this may sound crazy, but this is how I see it. It looks like a sideways T. For some reason, my brain says, oh yeah, there's the T. I don't know why. It looks more like an X, but for my brain, it's like, oh, it's a crooked T. I don't know why, but that's how I make that connection. I tell these little quirky things because then you may be like, I remember that teacher, she said it was a crooked T and it was the weirdest thing ever, but I never forgot the T. Then we have U. So it's going to be our 2 fingers together. Then V. Then we have W. And then X. X like a pirate. This one, I'm sorry, I have to add this little story. The first time I taught this class, I said, I don't know why I think pirate every time I think about it, like a hook and stuff. I just kept saying, maybe it's because of the hook, maybe it's this. Don't know why I keep making this connection. And then Miss Katie was like, well, duh, it's because X marks the spot, Jillian, like treasure chest and everything was like, and I never made that connection. Never. It took, I think, 3 or 4 classes before she said it. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. So I don't know why, but that finally clicked. So X like a pirate. Then we have Y. Y is going to be your thumb and your pinky sticking out. And then Z is going to make a Z motion. Z. And this one also doesn't really, technically you would do it in the way opposite of like how we write it. But I mean, I've not seen someone go, you did your Z backwards. I don't understand what you said. Like most of the time they get your meaning a Z. Okay, so let's go back. We stopped at S, so we're on T. So we had T. Then U. Then V, W, X, Y, and Z. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way back to our A. And I think we're going to sign the alphabet a few times. The first time I'm going to sign it with y'all. The second time what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to kind of not sign it. And I'm going to voice it and give you guys a chance to try to think it yourself. If you don't know it, do not stress. It is A-okay. I literally just showed you guys like 5 minutes ago. So do not be like, oh my gosh, I don't know. It's okay. It's totally fine. Because I'll still come in with it and show it later. Okay. So let's do it together. We're going to start with our A. So we had A, B, C, D, pointer finger. There you go. Yes. E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and then Z. I love how some of y'all, whenever y'all do this, the balloons just appear out of nowhere. That happened last class. And the first time I was like, what is that? And then I remembered, oh, wait, there's like some thing that can be related where if you do this, it'll like have balloons show up.
Wait, is that what's going on?
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, do all these people have birthdays? What the heck is going on? No, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's like the weirdest thing. I'll see them like it's either this or they'll do the K, but because they're K, like the way the K looks, it'll like show balloons. Yeah. See?
Actually, I seriously thought that it was something on my that I had set this class up and like messed something up. Okay, great. It's not me.
No, you're good. So yeah, I just think it's funny. All right. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have you guys, I'm gonna voice it and I'm gonna try to keep my hands down and not sign it. And give you guys a chance to sign it. Okay. All right. Gotta keep my hands down. All right. Are you guys ready? Okay. So it's totally fine, guys. All right. A. B. C. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have added the B. There's so many of y'all. I literally started at the bottom. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, we're good. And then I was like, oh, wait, I should add them in the end. So we had our C. Then D. Pointer finger. Trust me, it happens all the time. D, F, and I get so easily flipped. It's ridiculous. But even I did that when I was learning it too, so it's normal. E. E. There you go. Yeah. F. So F is the little, it's a, yeah. F. Then G. G, the one little point finger. then H. Mhm. I. J. Mhm. K. L. M. N. O. P. Mhm. Q. Q. The one. There you go. Q. R. S. S. Yeah. T. U. V. W. X. Y. And then Z. Z. Yay! Oh my gosh, you guys did awesome. I'm gonna add my little thing on my recommendation of like how to practice the ABCs. Since we only see each other once a week, and with that, well, I didn't mention this earlier. I think you mentioned a little bit of it. So this class is very content heavy, meaning there's a lot of signs and a lot of words. What we typically do is I'd rather give you guys a whole, almost like a whole vocabulary book of signs that you guys will have saved by the videos and recordings, and you're able to, because most of the time, Miss Katie, you timestamp it too with like the parts that you guys can go back and use to help yourself. So what we do is we may not do as much repetitively practice, but you guys have that resource of you can kind of independently practice and then review if you need. But with that, I do like to emphasize with the alphabet, one of the best ways to help practice and get used to it is kind of two things. One being, I like to practice, try to finger spelling as many words as I can. Meaning that like if I see like if I'm like sitting down, I'm kind of like if I'm like in a waiting room or if I'm in the car and I'm not driving, like I'm in the passenger seat, in the back seat, whichever, I will look at words around me, like billboards, everything, and I will try to spell everything, like practice with being like, okay, this says like Alexander, like Alexander Shannara, because you know we see about 1,000 of those. I will try to finger spell Alexander Shannara. And let me tell you guys, if that does not get you to practice that finger spelling, I mean, I cannot, like nothing will, because that his name is so long.
You know, another great place to practice is, and this might be awful, but when you go to church and you're like listening to the readings, is a good time to practice. You're just sitting there and you know, you got an hour-ish. So you know, sometimes I get a little antsy and practice.
I'm notorious for doing that, but like I'll do that when I'm like talking to people, or I'm like if I'm asking someone to spell out their name, I will spell it to them. I got caught 2 weekends ago because I was talking with someone and they said the last name Wheel, and I went, is it Wheel like Wheeel or is it Weil? And my friend has no idea what sign it, like no signing, and he goes, "Did you just spell the names to me?" And I went, I might have. But which one was it? So that practice really gets like you can see that improvement and that notice of like connecting it. Yes, I realized I hadn't said that. So for double letters, what you do is when you are spelling anything with double letters, there are two ways you can do it. You can either do like a slide across like this, like for ease, or you can bounce it like EE. So for example, my name, excuse me, when I sign or I spell my name, I go Gil. I can do LL, like just bounce it, or I can go L. I typically slide. So I go Gillian. I did not realize everyone was going to sign my name with me. And I was like, oh, I'm going a lot faster. Let me slow it down. No, you guys are totally fine. Go for it. Like, sometimes I do it so fast or so natural. Like if I showed you how I actually like finger spell my name, it's Gillian. Like that's how fast I can. Yeah, I know. I talk fast, so I sign fast. That's why as well. That's not always a common. Everyone finger spells as fast as I do. No, that's just me. So, but anyways, yeah, that's what you do is you just either slide or tap. Either way works. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start off with saying my name is, and then I'm going to let everybody, if you don't want to, that's totally fine. Practice finger spelling their name. I saw the amount of faces I saw go, oh, no, it's totally fine, guys. It's a safe place. There's no judgment. I promise. I banish all the bad judgment. I'm like, nope, we're all in a safe spot where if you are nervous, you're totally good. Okay. So how you say my name is in ASL is one of the cool things with ASL grammar and like the structure is that you don't have to sign every single word like individually. It's different. The grammar and I'm going to use some fancy words here. The syntax is different. So when you're actually saying my name is, you really are just signing my name because that is already kind of like embedded in it. It's very complicated. I'm trying to explain it. But it's already like there. It's already like assumed and understood that it's there. So first off is the sign for my, and the sign for my is you're going to have an open hand on your chest. My. Then for name, you're going to have two H's, U's, whichever. You're going to turn them sideways and tap one on top of the other. Name. Does not matter if you do left or right, either way. Name. So my name. Okay. So like, let's see. I'm going to sign my name real quick, and then I'm going to give everybody like a minute or two to practice spelling their names if they want before I start throwing them in. I will let you know, Tamika, you are first on my list. Not that it's just because you're in the order, okay? I wanted to warn you so you knew you weren't like startled. I would have had a heart attack if I was the first person. So I just want to get that heads up. So I'm going to
Also, wait, I'm going to throw this out there too. If a lot of you might be like not on your own account, like, don't worry, just sign whatever, or if you use a nickname and that's not what it says on the screen, just go ahead and sign that. That's fine.
If I call you by the wrong name, someone just tell me, like, that's not me. That's my husband's, that's my son's, that's my daughter's. Go for it. That's happened before. And they were like, that's not me. I'm like, oh, whoops. So you guys are more than welcome to do that as well. All right. Let's go through my name again, and then we'll get started. So my name. Name. All right. So Tamika, are you ready? Or you want me to give them? Okay, ready? All right. Okay, go ahead. Good. All right. The next one I have, if I say y'all's names wrong, I can barely speak English properly, okay? My English has just decreased with my ASL going up. It's not a balanced thing anymore. Nodra? I'm so sorry. Nodira.
Yeah, that's perfect. Nadira.
Yes, I knew if I took a minute and I sounded out, I'd get it. All right, it's your turn.
Okay, so, I shouldn't talk, right?
Good. Awesome. Okay. The next one I have is making sure I have is Ashley. I had to make sure there was not another Ashley. All right, you ready? Okay. Now Ashley knows her ABCs. Okay. I caught her with the P earlier. So don't be like, oh my gosh, she did it so much faster. I'm like, no. She got some previous practice in her. All right. The next one I have is Lacey. I have a feeling Lacey also knows hers. A little. Okay. All right. Perfect. My next one I have is Knox. All right, ready? Mm-hmm. All right, good. So we had K, N, O, and X. Oh, sorry, your pinky came up a little bit and I thought it was the F and I was like, oh wait, no. That's just me not paying attention. You're totally good. Yes. I get it all the time with my light here, so it always throws me off. I try to like cover it when I finger spell, but it gets me. All right. The next one, oh, you're totally good. You did it. Awesome. My next one is Jamie. All right, ready? Okay. Good. Yes. Yay. Awesome. All right. My next one is Pollen, or is it Pauline? Pollen?
It's Pollen. You said it right the first time. Great.
Myself on the back. I'm getting these names right, guys. All right. You ready? All right. So you got most of it. You stuck up your pinky with your A, but I think what was happening is you were getting so ready for that U, your pinky came up. Mine does that a lot. Okay. I've caught myself. I'll somehow my L's, like my A and my Y, not my A and Y, my A and my I will get like confuzzled and I'll look like I have a Y in my name. And I'm like, nope, slow it down. All right. Awesome. My next one is Leslie. Good. Awesome. All right. My next one, it says C. George. You also have a background. There you go. Okay, you had a background. I was like, I think she might have had a minute walk out. I wanted to double check. All right, ready? Courtney? All right, good. All right. It's always a nice little challenge for me when I have to like make sure when there's not the full name or it's a nickname. I'm like, wait, make sure I catch it because it's small. All right, the next one I have is Whitney, the two little ones. Oh, you gotta spell it closer. Like I said, so tiny. She's like, Mom, I can do it. Oh, is it Leo? Leela. Oh wait. Leela. Is Leela? Okay, there it is. Sorry, my brain saw that other L, but just went, oh no, it's Leah. Star Wars is in my head, guys. Sorry about that. Walker. All right, so Leela and Walker. I'm gonna make sure I say that right because I keep wanting to say it wrong. All right, perfect. All right. All right, Mom, do you want to do it too, or do you just want to let them do it? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a teacher with elementary kids. I teach 4th through 6th grade. I get all giddy when I watch little kids sign. It's a whole thing. All right. The next one I have is Hal. All right. It's Haley, right? Not Hallie. My brain wants to say Hallie. Again, like I said, my words may not be perfect. All right, awesome. So I think that's everybody I see on the screen. If you don't want to do it, you're totally fine. I'm not going to stress out. Y'all did awesome. Okay. So you guys should all give yourself a pat on the back. You guys are able to spell your name. That is a big deal, especially because that's typically what's going to be like the first thing if you're talking to a deaf person. That's what they're usually going to ask is, what's your name? What's your name? So the next little sentence we're going to do is I am learning sign. Now, like I said, what the my name is, excuse me, we don't technically do the I and the am. What you're going to actually say in ASL is me learn sign, or ASL, me learn ASL. So for me, you're going to point to yourself, me, and then the sign for learn is you're going to have your non-dominant hand palm up. Your dominant is going to start kind of open like this, and you're going to close it to your forehead. It's almost like a jellyfish coming to your forehead. Learn. And then you'll do ASL. So A, S, L. Okay, so let's practice that one again. So it is, I'm going to say it in, trying to make sure I say it in English, but sometimes I say it in ASL. I am learning ASL. Okay. All right. So, yes.
When we do learning, does this
Mhm.
hand stay here or does it like drop away?
So typically you leave it here, but I will go into this just a little bit. You'll notice more in the classes as we do. So you know how in English we say things like y'all, and we have like those conjunctions like aren't and ain't and all our little words. ASL has some similarities of that as well, meaning whereas we may not be saying everything exactly prim proper English, ASL will not always be just prim proper ASL. Me, learn, sometimes what will happen is it gets a little bit like not the slang, but it's like shorthand, things like that. So like learn, like some people may drop that hand down, but really it still is learning. You typically see that, I think next week when we do time, there's a big one that I will show you guys that does that sort of thing. So, but yeah, that sometimes it'll be slightly a little different, but it's just to make it shorter and faster to sign. The next one is the sign for sign. There are technically two ways to sign sign. I almost like to say, it's going to sound crazy when I say this, there's a beginner sign for it, and then there's an advanced sign. Really, there's not, but that's how my mind works because I learned it as a beginner, and then when I took more advanced, I learned this one. I'm going to show you both. The first one is you have 2 pointer fingers, and you're going to go sign. So you make them in a circle motion, sign. Then we have the second one, and what it is you go sign. Like it's almost like you're squeezing like oranges in your hand, like think sign. Typically this one is when like saying like, the way I've seen it is like, this is more like communication, like talking sign. Whereas this one is like for words. So the sign for blah, 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 you would do sign. But if you say I'm signing with my friend, like talking to my friend, signing, things like that, if that makes sense, there's a little difference. But either way, if you really did just say me, like I'm signing with my friends or whatnot, no one's going to judge you for doing sign. Okay. Then the next one, and then after this, we'll go back through the few sentences we did. So what is the sign for? Okay, so like I said, you do sign. And then, so here's how, okay, I'm trying not to go too deep. I don't want to overwhelm you guys too much. I know it could be a very, lots of things happening class. So real quick on a short little explanation, we'll dive deep into it more probably next week, is when you're asking a question, you're going to have the question word at the end of the sentence. Okay. I will elaborate more on that later. I'm just going to say that now so you guys know when I'm signing this. So when you are asking for what is the sign, you can either do sign and then spell the word. So like if you're saying the sign for cat, sign, cat. And then you go what? So what is like open hands and you just kind of go what? What? So you can do sign and then finger spell the word. So like, I'm again just going to use cat. Sign. What? Okay. So let's go through our 4 little things and then we'll move on to the next one. So first one was my name is. So my name. Then our next one is I am learning signs. So me learn ASL. I know I keep saying sign. That's just my go-to is the next word, but it's ASL. ASL. Then our sign for sign. So we had sign and sign. Okay. Then we had sign. What is the sign for? So sign, whatever word I'm just going to do. This is the sign for fingerspell is you just literally wiggle your fingers. My goodness. Wiggle your fingers. Fingerspell. A lot of times I'll have that circle motion, but it's wiggling your fingers. So sign, blah, 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 blah. What? All right. So our next one is please. So the next sign, so the sign for please, try to make sure I'm following the list right. Because I don't want to like jump over too much and it keeps zooming out for me. So please is going to be open hand and you're going to make a circle motion. Please. Please. So then for our next sentence, please slow down. What you'll do is you're going to just do the sign for please and then slow. So please, and then slow is going to have your non-dominant kind of down. Your dominant is going to slowly go up across it. Please slow. Slow. And you want to make sure you move your hand very slow. That way they know you really mean like slow it down. I'm still learning. Especially when the finger spelling. Sometimes it's like when you're learning, it's like my eyes will squint. I'm like, what? So I'll be like, slow down. All right. The next one is please repeat. So you go, please. And then the sign for repeat is you're going to have your non-dominant sideways. Dominant is going to go repeat. This is also the sign for again. So please repeat. Okay.
So
we have.
Sorry, I have another question.
Okay, you're totally fine.
So could you say like, please repeat slower?
Yes, you definitely can. Yes, that's perfect. I haven't even thought about. I mean, it makes sense. My brain just didn't connect. We didn't put it together. But yes, you can definitely say like, please slow down. Typically, when I was learning, I would go, please repeat slow, me learning. Like, I think I would even say like me learn slow, like please wait. And most of the time, deaf people are very understanding and they will slow down. There may be the few that may not. Like I said, there's always one person, that may not be as patient, but most of the time they're very patient. So they should be able to slow it down. The last 3 I have, we'll go through and then we'll go through them all again is, so it's going to be deaf, hearing, and hard of hearing. So the first one for deaf, what you're going to do is you're going to have a D or a pointer finger. You're going to start at the corner of your mouth and you're going to have like your pointer finger at the corner of your mouth. And you go deaf. You go back to your ear. Yeah. So you go mouth, ear, deaf. Excuse me. Then our next one for hearing is going to be that pointer finger again. And you're going to make a circular motion in front of your mouth. Hearing. Then we have hard of hearing. And what you do for hard of hearing is it's going to be at that H. And you're going to go hard of hearing. So you just bounce it twice. H, H. Hard of hearing. Hard of hearing. Okay. let's go back to our please real quick. Go through those from there, and then we'll go through them all again. So we had our please. Then we had please slow down, which was please slow. Then we had please repeat. So please repeat. Then deaf. Deaf. And then hearing. And then hard of hearing. So if you were to ask someone, are you deaf? Or if they ask you, and how would you respond? So if you were to ask them if they're deaf, you would go, you. Typically, it's like you point to them, you sign deaf, and then you kind of point back to them, like saying, you deaf, you. And then usually they'll respond. And then if they were to ask, like, are you deaf? You could say, like, me hearing, or me hard of hearing, whichever one applies to you. So me hearing. Okay. Let's go through those last few sentences, and then I'm going to leave it open for any questions you guys have, and then we'll be done for our first class. So we had my name is, so my name. Then we had I am learning ASL. So me learn ASL. Then we had the sign for sign. So sign or sign. Then what is the sign for? So sign blah, 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 blah. What? I know I have to add my little blah, blah, blah. Then please. And then please slow down. Please slow. Then please repeat. Then we had deaf. Hearing. And then hard of hearing. And then are you deaf? You deaf. You. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Anything you guys are curious about? Anything of that sort? That's typically when I take my water break as well. I let everyone ask questions. I'm trying to think. Let's see. If anyone's typing up, I will just kind of go ahead and talk. Next week's class is going to be about time and numbers. I knew I was going to forget something. We'll start off with our numbers, and then we'll move on to like different signs of how you would say time and things like that. What's really
Gillian, I wanted to add something to that. Time and numbers can get very long and sometimes difficult. So, I'll make a note on next week's vocabulary sheet. We might not get through all of them. It just kind of depends on how everybody's feeling about it. But if we don't get through all of it, the next week we'll finish it.
Yes, definitely.
Just don't get a big list and think, oh my gosh. Like, I don't want anybody to feel like, don't feel overwhelmed. We don't have to, smash it all in one.
Exactly. I did have one more quick question that was if it's too early to ask about signing, yes and no. And it's not. I can show you guys that very easily. So yes is going to be, you're going to have an S and you're just going to bounce it back and forth. Like you're nodding your head. Yes. And then for no, it's going to be, you're going to have your V and your thumb, and you're going to go, no. So yeah, that so we have our yes, no. I realized that too. Funnily enough, when I said you deaf, you hearing, I was like, y'all can't respond yes or no. I haven't told y'all that yet. And I was like, well, I don't want to throw, sometimes I can do this. I'll just throw more signs and I don't want to overwhelm y'all for the first class. So I was like, I'll wait. But since you asked, yes, we have our yes, no. And I mean, you still can like nod your head or shake your head and they still know it. So if you are like, I'm not sure what yes and no is again, you can just shake your head and they're going to know what you mean. But yeah, are there any other questions you guys have? Like I said, the best way to practice finger spelling is, so for practicing finger spelling, I think we do have a finger spelling quiz, right, Miss Katie? That,
Yes, I'll send that along. And also, I'm probably gonna send another. Oh, look at that. I will probably send another that has the introductory phrases because we don't have a quiz related to that yet. So yes, you'll have that in the first week to practice with, in addition to just finger spelling whenever you can.
yeah, I really recommend that. And do you want to also, you're sending out the resources. There's a few apps that you also can get that are free that you can practice. They have there's one that has the alphabet in it, and I think that's on that list. So you guys can go through that as well. Excuse me. And then yeah, like I said, my favorite kind of practicing was really just finger spelling everything around me. Like, I mean, I would literally look at my dog and go, dog, like D-O-G. Or I'd go like door and I'd go D-O-O-R. Like I practice like everything. So just kind of, and honestly, I think it's kind of fun. But I'm biased. I know. Sorry. He's being impatient. He's trying to be noisy. But you made me lose my train of thought. The more I practice, the more, oh my goodness, you threw me off completely. Anyways, what I was trying to say is that the practicing of just like finger spelling everything gets kind of a good habit, and it also helps with that fluid motion. So like if you notice when I said my name, I didn't do a whole G-I, like bouncing it like aggressively. I just went Gillian, that smooth kind of motion. That comes with the more practice as well. So yep. I'm trying to think. I think that we'll stop here. If you guys have any questions throughout the rest of the week or anything like that, you're more than welcome to email Miss Katie, or you can hold it for next week and we can talk about it. Anything like that. Other than that, I think we're done for our first night. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of y'all's week, and I will see you all next week. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.